Well, CNC Nuts, he had this set up, and I thought, well, I'll modify that a little bit. I went with a plastic half-inch nipple, half-inch caps that screw on, and I test fitted them on that so that they would screw in easy. And I bought the Champion kind of the 3M. I wasn't sure which one, but we'll put some soap and water on them. And then I used a carriage bolt, and I'll use a 1/4-inch nut on it. And then I pulled out a 1/4-inch collet from one of my router sets. I had bought about 6 or 7 of these, so I have all my bits pretty much stored in those. And there's my Sharpies. I'm going to try and incorporate the Sharpies into these. I don't know whether I will or not, but that's my hope anyway. Okay, the first thing I did is I got a 7/16 inch drill bit. It's just right there, and I put it in one of these little guys. These are the handiest things for drilling odd-shaped objects. And this is one of my caps. I put that hole in there, drilled it down just to where it punctured through. This doesn't have to be entirely centered because the thing doesn't really spin. It just it stays pivoted and in the center there. And as long as the collet's not moving, it's going to stay there. All right, with a little persuasion, a little bit of drilling past that 7/16 a bit, I just drilled it or sanded it smooth to where it goes through in and out of there pretty good, and it's pretty close. So that's one end. Let's do the 1/4 inch on the other end now. All right, after about maybe 10 minutes tops, I came up with this. I think I got maybe $10 invested in it, and I have some extra parts over. Some more earplugs and these, so that wasn't too bad. I don't even know if it was that much. So anyway, that's just a 1/4 inch carriage bolt with a nut and a wing lock nut going through a 1/4 inch hole. That's screwed on pretty tight. I'll probably leave that one tight. This is the only one that I'll take off of it. It's a PVC 1/2 inch Schedule 80 pipe. And they weren't too pricey. I mean, they were $2 something for each end, and then this was 97 or something cents. So the pipe was easy enough. I just put 2 of these end to end for a spring, like that, and they're up here in the top part right here. And as you can see, it'll stay. It's enough spring to do that. And of course, once you soak it with some soap and water, the foam expands. These are the same package, and you can see the difference in the sizes of them once they expand up. So I just put 2 of them in there to make up the difference. And I'm going to stick that in my CNC machine now and see what happens. I have a Shark HD 510, and there's that, so I'll be able to stick it over whatever, and I still have plenty of room. I don't know that I'm all the way zeroed out, but I'm close. But this will accept the full length pins there, which I kind of like that idea because you could throw in different colors. So if I did want to get artistic, main thing I'm thinking about this is for like printing off plans. In VCarve, I can print out a full-size plan with this. VCarve doesn't have the ability to print to scale. It's printing, so I've seen one of the guys on YouTube do it, but it's so complicated. This wasn't practical for me. So this way I can just lay it out and then print it on a piece of paper if I want to. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of, and may change my mind, but right now that's where I'm at. Alright, well, after a little bit of experimentation, I was hitting my depth setting, so I need to get a nipple that's 3 inches instead of 4 inches. But I took my disposable top off here, and I just down to my jig boards. And so that, and then all my Sharpies were pretty well worn out by the boys and Royal Rangers. They were all getting rounded. So I went through about 20 Sharpies, and I found about 3 of them that still had the sharp points on them, and it's just gold one. And you know, it's drawn this thing perfect. And then absolutely perfect, not a glitch one. This is a carving, or basically it's a laser thing, and it looks as good with this pencil as it does with the laser. This one was with one of my Sharpies that had a little bit of a rounded end, and yeah. But anyway, so on the setup, I basically need a 3-inch nipple instead of 4-inch nipple. I did cut the half of the threads off of that, but there you are right there. It's really pretty good. So anyway, that's just a quick play with that thing. It's kind of fun. All right, CNC nuts or whatever he is on there, Peter. I've learned a lot from him over the years, so I want to say thank you, Peter. But this idea was what I was looking for. I just basically went down to the hardware box store and I got this is a 4-inch PVC, which I cut half of the threads off it to get it to come in within the dimension, so it's a little long. I'd be better off with a 3-inch PVC, but these are just the screw-on caps that go on the end. It's got a 1/4-inch hole at the top, and it's a 7/16 hole that's here that's been reamed out just a little bit with some sandpaper, and then there's two hearing protectors in there, the orange ones. Soaked them in some soap water so that they would sponge up, and that's really all there is to it. I'm gonna let this thing run. We're gonna cut the outside of this. This is a patch that the guys have given me to burn on laser. So now what I learned is that if you put an old beat up Sharpie with no point, then it's going to get real blotchy on you. But if you find a new Sharpie and put it in there, the thing works pretty good. But I mean, you know, that's outstanding. It does a good job. So let's do something a little harder to do. Whoops. All right. These are some of our FCF patches that we have on our Frontiersman Camping Fellowship. And our Northeast Division coordinator came up with this idea, so he kind of designed this patch. I cut a bunch of leather ones, burnt them with the laser, and they came out really nice. I mean, really nice. And then you can see this paper's got a little spring in it, and it sprung up there in the center, as you can see, and it put a little cross on that F. So this probably would be better off to have with a suction table to keep it down flat, because even with tape right here and here, this piece of paper is flexing up just a little bit. I could probably fix it by putting a piece of weight on it. And let's just put a little bit heavier weight on there. See if we can keep that from springing up before it ruins the whole thing. But you look on the F, it's just a millimeter, or you know, just a little bit. You can see it's still springing up there right here in the very center. And so there. So I need to put a piece of tape there, hold this down right here, or just hold it there with my finger until it gets done, I guess. But yeah, it's crucial. So a vacuum box or a vacuum whatever would work good here. I would need to shorten up my plotter pin setup, because there's not room in there to put a vacuum box of much size in there. So it'd have to be a pretty thin one to get it to work. I stripped this one down, took my 1/4-inch, you know, my scrap board that I cut into. There it is over there. I just anchor that in with 23 gauge brad nails, or not brad nails, with 23 gauge pin nails. And it, you know, for the biggest part, I can burn on both sides of it, and it takes all the cuts. I flattened this spoil board about 2 months ago, and this is MDF on the bottom. This is part of the board on the top. Kind of experimenting. This is glued in here with white or yellow glue, and weights are laid on it, so it should stay pretty good. These holes right here, where you can see in there, that's where my screw holes are for anchoring that. They're into the bottom, but I know where they're located because of the holes there. And but this can be milled down many times over to flatten it out. And I kind of learned that two solo board or two jig boards is good, because when this gets down to it, if you put a short 1/8 inch bit in that collet, it won't. It'll Z out before it gets to the tabletop. So you need at least I will have 2 of these because I was Zing out when I would hit the very top of my 3/4 inch MDF board with a short bit in there or the bit up in the collet. So that had me fun for a little while until I figured that's what I was doing. Anyway, so I like the double board. It's just it's easy to use. I about forgot about putting my finger on there. I was yakking so much. But anyway, I mean, it's doing a good job of cutting it or drawing it. And you can see there that in this case it's actually needing the thing to come up a little bit because there's just like a little bitty low spot in it. And so it's, it doesn't take very much to get it to where it makes a big difference in it. So this right here is a low spot, but it can't be too low. So whenever I was pushing this right here, just that much makes all the difference in the pen work on that. So there we go. And I think what I'll do is I'll just tell it to run it again, and we'll see what happens. This will probably be a little blurry if I do that, but we'll just let it run. I'll get back to you. Alright, let's get back over here to the other side. And it's painting them logs in a little bit because they're... Let's see if I got it adjusted just enough for that. Now mind you, this is just a little bitty, 3-inch by 5-inch patch design. And if he's trying to do this over the whole sheet of this, if you're just trying to get that kind of a detail, then you're going to have a little bit of problem trying to get that to work. That's fine. However, you can not try and cut that fine of a detail and get a little broader line, and you won't have that much problem getting that to go. But I was trying to get it to where I could read it and cut my pen as lightly as I could cut it and still be able to read it. So that's kind of what I was doing there. Alright, I went trip to Lowe's to get a piece nipple that's 3 inches, but they didn't have any Schedule 80 there, they told me. But I stopped at the sprinkler section where you have the sprinklers. I thought, hey, I've got this cutoff riser and these caps, and I bought a stainless steel nut and a lock nut and 2 Sharpies and got out of it for $7. So that's not too bad. And hey, we're going to drill a 1/4 inch hole in one cap and a 7/16 hole in that cap and see what happens. Alright, just took the stainless steel flat head on there and put it in there flat. The carriage bolt had my shaft coming at a little bit of an angle. I didn't like that. Anyway, so I'm going to put this light nylon stainless steel lock nut on there, draw that up nice and tight, and get back with you here in a minute. Okay, that's the 2 guys. They both work the same. It's basically the same technology, except for the pink one is a good probably 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch shorter than the other one. And I've just got 1 earplug spring in this one, and there's 2 earplug springs in this one. And this was just a riser for a sprinkler system. It's a 1/2 inch by 6 inch riser, and I cut 2 spaces out of it, 2 sections out of it to get this. And then the end cap is drilled to a 7/16 hole down here where the pin is, and it was reamed just a little bit with a little bit of a sandpaper. And then this one is a 1/4 inch hole with a stainless steel flat hex head nut, a bolt nut with a nylon lock washer on it. So we're going to give it a go and see how she plays. Alright, this is my new plotter. Basically it's a Sharpie, full-size Sharpie pens, and this is a riser for a sprinkler system and the caps. And This is a stainless steel nut with it's a 1.5 inch stainless steel quarter, 1 1/4 by 20 with a lock nut, 1 1/4 by 20 with the nylon in so that it locks in. This is a 1/2 inch cap that you'll find in the same section that you'll find this 6-inch riser. I cut 2 ends off of this, 2 of these sections end of this. What this does is it makes it where you can slide on a nut on it and makes it easier to do that. And then this is the other cap. This has a 1/4 inch by a hole in the center, and this has a 7/16 inch hole here that's been reamed out just a little bit. And then that's a standard Sharpie. That's it. And I'm set my 0. I'm going to run my program, and we'll see what we get. This is just the outside. Let's see if I'm on the paper or not. Nope. I'm a little bit high. So let's bring it down just a hair. See if the paper's got a high spot in it anywhere. Okay. So I'm going to just take it down just a little bit more. Go down, exit that. Set my speed on slow. Bring this down to the 0. And we're going to go down just a hair. And set the 0 to 0. And then we'll run this again. This is the outside. And all I did is just move my Z down just a hair. Let's see if that's it or not. Now this is still not quite line is enough. It's really thin, so we're just barely touching that paper. All right. Let's just go ahead and let it run at that deal. Let's run the laser for the logs and hit start. This is going to do the FCF logos. Hopefully it's high enough up it's not going to do any drag points on it. Should be fairly clean because the pin is just barely touching the end of it. And that has an earplug, orange earplug thing that's been washed in dish soap, and so that makes it springy. CNC nuts taught me that, as well as a lot of other things about the CNC machines, so I'm thanking him for that. It's now cutting out some logs for this patch. And what I did is I burnt these patches with the laser, and while I was doing that, I started drawing some plans. While I was doing that, I was marking an old chair that I found, and I was making a pattern off of it. So I thought it might be handy to be able to draw plans out, and I tried to print them from the program, and really none of them really print them much to scale. They get you close, but that's about it. So I thought, well, they plot to scale, and so I put a pin in there, and I'll let it print off my plans that way. So we'll see how this works, and when it gets done, I'll come back to it. Okay, there it is, cut out, or just the ink pen. I'm going to go around that patch on the top and get it around all the type, and then we'll cut it out. Right, just lowered it just a hair, and I went around there and cut that out just really nice. So we'll cut another one just for the fun of it. Well, gosh, I thought I was doing everything right. Look what this thing looks like now. It tore up. All at an angle, the blade's broken. Huh.